Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Work Night, Real Talk for Modern Men. I'm Anthony Ball, your host, and today we're with Robin Seeger. Welcome, Robin.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to start off by just reading your bio so everyone knows who you are. So, Robin is a empowerment mentor and relationship coach who works with clients ready to stop repeating the same patterns. He supports the development of emotional depth, self-leadership, and relational integrity. Through inner alchemy and shadow integration, his work helps clients break unconscious patterns and show up more fully in love, parenthood, and life. Great. So, welcome
Glad I
again.
didn't have to read it.
I'm really excited to have you on. I've been wanting to, like I've told you, I've been wanting to get you on for a long time. And so it's really excited to have you here. And what I'd love to really dive into is particularly relationship stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You're, of course, a father as well. Maybe we'll touch on that at some point. We'll see how it flows out. But particularly relationship with men and just going into that kind of area.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I think a first question to kind of dive into would be what, from your experience and your knowledge and wisdom, what is some of the biggest challenges men go into a relationship with, or what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I'm in a relationship for 25 years. So my wife and I have known each other for quite some time now. And being a relationship coach, this is not what I always was. A lot comes out of that experience. Like, this is really a role I grew into. And it comes because of my own experiences. It comes from what I had to learn. And one of the biggest lessons I ever learned was to be okay with her not being okay.
Mm-hmm.
The partner not being okay. As a man,
Yeah.
like, I grew up fixing things, like hands-on. I love that. I love working on bikes and tools and stuff and fixing. And so I took that into everything, into my relationships with my friends, with partners, with family, whatever it was. I became kind of a fixer. I wanted to just make sure everybody's okay. There's some childhood trauma with that. There's some other things, but the biggest thing was just I felt uncomfortable with somebody not being okay. And so this was not something I wish I would have known way, way earlier. But this is like 10 years, 12 years into my relationship. My wife tells me and goes, just stop fixing me.
Mm-hmm.
Just be there. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, just be there. Just listen. Just be there. Just be present.
Mm-hmm.
One of the hardest things I ever had to do and had to learn, because I was sitting there listening, and in my mind, it was going, oh my God, I know the answers. I know the solution. I know what you should do. It's so easy. It's just a quick fix. And it's like, sip it, listen. And then what I realized, and here's that lesson that for me was so important, is I actually, instead of disempowering her by kind of making her feel she can't solve it herself, I gave her that power to go, huh, what's your opinion? Do you have a solution? Do you have something? I could do it. I could probably figure it out by myself, but I would want to hear it. So then it became an invitation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this unsolicited advice, even so it's with the best intention. That was one of the biggest learning lessons for me for relationships, and that changed our dynamics so profoundly.
Okay. Yeah, I laugh because, I recognize it in myself and how I want to fix things. And also recognizing like I see the problem and I know how to fix it. Let's just get to that so I don't have to listen to the rest of this. So I can end this and move on to the next thing. You know, such a male thing,
Yeah,
such a masculine thing
it is.
to do. Um, and so with that in mind, so essentially holding space,
Yeah.
learning to hold space. And again, a lot of men need to learn how to do that. I had to learn how to do that. Um, how do you hold space?
Learning to listen. And for that, listening is it sounds so easy, right? We're
Mhm,
talking, you hear my words. However, do you really hear me?
mhm,
Because while I'm talking to you right now, in your mind, there's already like, what's the next question? What's the answer?
mhm,
Oh, there's something I want to share. Like it's a constant chatter. So listening, and this is something I really had to cultivate over quite a lengthy time, to be able to hold that space to listen, to really let every word in, so that when after a share, after something came, actually being able to reflect it back.
mhm,
So that's kind of the training in this, where it's like, I just heard you say all these kind of things, and if you can do this, if you can actually bring back and go and make your partner feel like, wow, I got really listened to, I got really heard. Even for the people I work with, this is one of the biggest things where they're like, wow, you listen to this whole rant,
mhm.
you actually got all this. Makes a huge difference. So
Yeah.
that's the first part of holding space, is kind of taking that chatter out. And the longer a conversation goes, a longer something like this is happening, the harder it is, no matter what you do. Because, like I said, even for myself, it's been something that I had to cultivate for a long time. Because before it would be like, well, but that's not true. Especially when it becomes personal. Relationships are personal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I am going to be triggered. I am gonna, there's insecurities, and it's like, well, no, 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 no. And then you want to defend yourself. So then you start forming this response and you stop listening.
Mhm. Yes, exactly, exactly. And with that, so the listening aspect, because again, like you say, question comes in, I want to speak, people go into their own self talk and they're not actually listening anymore. Um, Now, this could happen even more if, especially what's being expressed to them is seen as, let's say, a personal attack, or
Mhm.
the man is taking it personally, right? And a lot of triggers can come up in that moment where they want to defend themselves and they start to get defensive, and then they're like completely shut off and they're not listening whatsoever. And this is one that really can get me, especially if I'm unregulated. Like if we're trying to have a conversation and I'm on a scooter driving, it's like I'm trying to focus on driving and then this going and I'm getting overwhelmed and I have to shut it down and like I don't respond well, you know. And yeah, I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on around that area, around really how important it is to, well, first for the guys that don't really know how to listen because they are just
Mhm.
in their own self head. Like, what's like the smallest thing they can do to help them actually listen, um, for starters, and then and then also the importance of self-regulating so that you can actually hold space better.
Right. Well, self-regulating, that's something you're probably even better equipped than I am with the tools. And it's really the simple things. It's like, as a breathwork facilitator, um, taking a breath is such a powerful tool. Just take a deep breath. It's such a silly thing people say with actually not understanding often what that means. Like
Hmm.
it's such a part, that reset, that stopping. But for me, the biggest thing is men and women are different. I mean, here there's, women are, what was it, from Venus, and men are from Mars or Pluto or whatever it was. It is, men and women are different. And one of the biggest things that I always try to explain to, when I work with couples is you need to understand that men think differently in their way of processing. So when you just said, it's a perfect example. I'm driving a scooter, I'm focusing on the scooter. Now the chatter comes, and this is an important topic for the partner. It's like, I want to be there for you, but I also need to be here. And while we pretend we're good at multitasking, most men are not. We are
I'm
really
not.
we're focused, we're centered, we're like, this is what we're doing, and then next. Women are better at multitasking. And so if there's three, four, five things going at the same time, they work with that differently. So one of my core suggestions in this is going, ask if this is a good time.
Hmm.
If it's important, don't just throw it at your partner. Don't just throw it at somebody. Like for me, for example, the first hour of my day, and it took me forever to realize that I need peace and quiet. I need to start sorting my thoughts. I need to come into my body. I need to be setting myself up. And I have two kids, two teenagers, wife, two dogs, house of lots of stuff going on. It doesn't always happen.
Hmm.
Probably more less than it should. But everybody knows by now, because I communicated this, that don't throw issues, problems, things that need solving at me right in the first thing when I just woke up, because I will not react from that space of, like you just said, that self-regulated space of like, all
Hmm.
right, I'm here, I'm present.
Yeah.
So if I get asked that question, is this a good time? And I'm not awake yet. I had a bad night's sleep, whatever it is. There's a million other things on my mind. It gives me the chance to say no. But then I also know I need to come back in a very reasonable time frame, meaning within the next, half hour, or whatever, I'm gonna come back and go, all right, now. And
Hmm.
then I can be present. So coming back to the listening, when I then show up, I have tuned out the other things and I can really be there to listen, and then we listen differently.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. It's definitely something me and Alicia are practicing. We we fuck up every now and again. Um, we either forget or we're just, we're too triggered in the moment and we just want to verbalize it. Um, and that will cause the conflict. But yeah, definitely, asking for that permission is very important. I definitely see that. And
So
we
just
go
there's
on.
one more thing that just came when you said that. I'd like to add that the personal part, right? So when we take things personal,
Hmm.
obviously it creates emotions, and it's
Hmm.
insecurities and beliefs and all this stuff that comes up.
Yes.
Actually, a good thing to ask in that moment, that question, is this, is this really how you feel about me? Is this how, like,
Hmm.
bring this out as a man and go, we're supposed to be sensible and vulnerable and all these kind of things. And at the same time, we're supposed to be the rock and strong, and like all these, it can be confusing, but it's okay to actually get clarity, because again, men and women think differently.
Yeah.
And so when I started to realize that most of these, what I felt like our attacks, had nothing to do with me and were
Hmm.
never meant to be even personal. So when I then said that and asked that question, it's like, is that really something that is that what you think of me? Or is that what and then it's like, no, it has nothing to do with me. Or it's actually my own stuff, or it's something else. shifts immediately that tension
Mm.
where you can go, oh, okay, if it's not about me, yeah, I'm back. I'm here.
Yeah.
Right. So it can take you out of that. So it's like allowing yourself to ask where you become insecure and
Hmm.
see what the response is. Because by now, like I said, after 25 years, um, I probably took 80% of these attacks away by going, oh, this is not even personal, because now I know the answer. I
Hmm.
know where it's coming from. I know what she's thinking. But if I would be in the beginning of a relationship and have different communication tools and different communication styles, oh my God, my relationship would have been so much easier.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think that's a great question for me to ask. Like, is this actually how you feel about me? Because again, with me, what I say generally is what I mean.
Mhm.
Because I'm very honest and I think before I speak, you know. I'm very just like situational. Like I'm talking about this particular situation, nothing else. You know, if I think you're acting like an idiot in this moment, I think you're an idiot. You know, but only in this moment, not as a whole human, right? Um, Whereas there, when sometimes like my wife is expressing, she will point the finger towards me, and we'll be talking about one thing, and it will escalate into things that happened weeks ago, months ago, and it's like a list of whole things. And in my mind, I'm like, where's this going? I get overwhelmed with where it's going, and then there can be a lot of like you. That's where I notice myself getting triggered, and you know the tools help. Sometimes I do get triggered because I am human, and yeah, just to ask that question in those let's say more vulnerable triggering moments, like just asking the question, more curiosity, I guess. Like, is this actually how you feel about me? And then just hearing the response could be worthwhile.
Well, and even if it is, yeah, in this moment, like our partners love us. That's the reason
Hmm.
why, we're together, hopefully. Um, but that doesn't mean they always like us,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
So I can love you in this moment, but right now I really don't like you because you trigger the shit out of me.
Hmm.
Oh, and that's you. Yes, we're all human. And also, if I don't get triggered anymore, something is not right.
Yeah.
Like especially in relationships. Relationships are such big mirrors. They can show me where I still need to grow. They show me where there's still work to be done.
Hmm.
So the triggers are for me invitations, as much as they sting and as much as, it's not like, oh yeah, great, another trigger, I'm happy. No, it sucks.
Yeah.
However, then when you do this kind of work and with the more awareness you kind of get, the more you're going to allow yourself to go into, all right, hold on, what is really behind this?
Hmm.
Oh, and then again, this kind of question can actually help lessen this because it's like, all right, it is not even how she thinks about me. This is maybe even how I think about myself. Oh,
Yeah.
why am I still so triggered about that? And then the more work you do, the more these kind of things shift, and then these things change.
Yeah.
Still triggered.
Yeah. The majority of the time when I do reflect on it, like it is just me like hearing and then telling my own story.
Mhm.
But if it is not true, there's nothing inside me that happens. So it's the fact that, okay, she's saying something, I'm telling my story inside, and it's actually triggering something within me because I believe it's true
Mhm.
in some form. And to take that responsibility was huge to recognize it's not the other person. And we can blame the other person and just continually like say, it's you, you're doing this, you're doing that. But then to actually reflect on, like you say, like relationships are a huge portal for growth, or they can be. If and again, it's important to, I guess, be aware like some relationships are just unhealthy, and
Yes.
it's not like
Yeah.
you have to force it through and go all these sorts of things. But no relationship is exclusively conflict free, or at least a one with, let's say, polarity. Let's say like where there's actually like a sexual chemistry. Because I do believe like if you don't have conflict, then you're not really leaning into your edge. You're not showing up how you actually want to show up, and you'll just become these two people that are numb, and you're just kind of friends more than actual partners, lovers,
Yes.
husbands and wives, and so on.
Especially when you become people pleasers, when you just avoid. I mean, it's an avoidance style. And if you just avoid everything, um, and I believe that to be like very early in my 20s when I was in all my first relationships, I avoided conflict as
Mm,
much as I could. And even so, we had chemistry and there was a lot of stuff that was good. This was really all on me because I was just so afraid of losing, and I had such little self-esteem, so that yeah, I ruined that relationship by not showing up.
mm-hmm.
You know, just being like avoiding all of this. I wish I would have tackled some of these things heads on at that time. And then later when I did, it changed the whole dynamic. And this is again then what you want. You want to show up, fully in a relationship. And
Yeah.
for men, that also means, and this is why I think, you can agree with me there. That's why we love also this men's work so much, because we cannot put all this stuff on our partner. That is not their role.
Mm,
We need to take some of these stuff out of the relationship and then bring it into a space where we can talk about this with people that actually can hold that and can hold us accountable and actually put us back in our place sometimes and go, no, listen to the story you tell yourself. It's just bullshit.
yeah.
Oh, and that needs men. And this is why it's so important for men to actually do this work and then also pay it forward and actually stand up and go, all right, let's come together in a brotherhood where and that's why I'm so excited also about this podcast, where it's like, no, this is what's so needed.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah. Well,
need
yeah.
working with men
Yeah.
so that when it brings it back into the relationship, there's less pressure on the partner to be all that, you know?
Exactly.
Their role is to be the partner,
Yeah.
not the best friend, not the mother, not the replacement of the father, not any of these kind of things.
Yeah. Particularly in like, well, I'll start with the men's work side of things because I think that's so important. A lot of guys that come to the men's work always say, I don't have guy friends. I don't have a circle of guy friends. A lot of my friends are female, or it's just their partner. And it's got to a point where they recognize that they need to lean more into the to with men and masculine because we hold space differently. We understand each other better because we know how to communicate with each other. We're typically more direct. And in these spaces, we learn that and we call each other out, we call each other forward, we support each other. And like if a man's going through a, an issue with a relationship and it's like it's only on the relationship to go to to fix, then it's going to be a lot of pressure on the partner. And they don't want that. So then we can use the group, we we kind of get it all out, get the messy confusion, the chaos out, bring some clarity with other guys, and then take it back to the wife. Have that direction, have that clarity, because the the feminine is going to love that you're have that clarity and that okay, this is what's going on for me. This is how I think we should move forward. What do you think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly that. I mean, the man, we are still supposed to be a man. even so in a different shape and form in the world that we live in today,
Hmm.
right? But that has now been so confused, and that's what I see from a lot of men too, is like, I don't know anymore. So there's a
Hmm.
shutdown because it's kind of like, I'm supposed to be emotional, I'm so supposed to be vulnerable, I'm supposed to be soft, but then that's not good enough either, because then the female often takes on that masculine role, which they don't want to do. And so the balance just gets lost. So it's kind
Hmm.
of where before it was too strong, too much, too rigid, it went from here to here when we should be somewhere in between. And this is kind of where I think this work is going to bring men back into that balanced spot where it's like not how our parents or grandparents or whatever grew up and the world they lived in, but also not, what we have learned in the last 10, 15 years, more into like, well, how do I, and like I said, I have a 16-year-old son. For me, it was all about how do I want him to show up.
Hmm.
And especially lately, I got really lucky to witness how he showed up. He's in his first relationship and how he showed up in his relationship. And his girlfriend one day said to me, the biggest thing was that he listened. The
Hmm.
biggest difference between him and who else I knew was that he actually listened to my story and he was impartial, non-judgmental, and he just listened and wanted to see me. And that made me feel safe.
Hmm.
And then came, that was the biggest thing, safe.
Yeah.
Because we want to feel safe in relationships. We want to
Yeah.
feel safe in who we are.
Hmm.
And the more we can do that, the more we can create that safety space, the more the rest will actually flourish. It's easier to become soft when you feel safe, female or male.
Hmm.
It's the same thing, but it's also then easier for the men when you feel safe in your relationship to actually really show up and to not have to fight it.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a big part is that.
How do you think you can bring more safety into a relationship?
It's a good question. I mean, there's so much. I
Yeah.
think the first thing that would come to mind for me as a man is one of that is it's one of the things that we talk about a lot is being true to your word. You know,
Hmm.
don't say things that you think your partner wants to hear.
Hmm. That's a very nice guy tendency, right? Oh, they want me to say this, I'm going to say this, even though honestly, I want to say this.
And we do it with the best intentions.
Hmm.
So I really like, for all the men out there, don't get this wrong. This is not, oh, you're manipulating or you're trying to do something or you're trying to get something or whatever it is. It's actually how a lot of us grew up. It's like, well, be that provider, be that person. So now you want to be vulnerable and in touch with your feelings and all that. So you're trying to make your partner feel better. However,
Hmm.
that's fixing again. That
Yes.
doesn't feel safe because in that moment, the woman actually feels, because she feels so much more. She feels the discrepancy between your words
Hmm.
and your energy that comes out.
Yes.
So if somebody goes, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm a bitch, I'm whatever it might be. Women go through a lot of things. If I then go, no, that's not true, you're not at all, that's just what they're saying, da 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 da, I'm devaluing what is actually alive inside of her right now. If I can meet that and go, I can understand, for example, I can understand how you might see that. Doesn't mean I have to agree with it, but I'm just saying I can, that creates safety because it values what is going on. And then you can bring in things that are true. It's like, well, for me, you're still, the sexiest woman alive, or you're really, but then that needs to be true.
Yes.
If I just say that to make her feel better, but
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you know, your
Yeah.
body's not as toned as it was, or whatever, like that is felt. It's your words need to meet your energy. Your words need
Hmm.
to meet that, and that creates safety.
Yes.
Even if it would hurt in that moment. That was another one that was tough for me, was like, wow, I'm actually possibly hurting you right now. But often it came back with, thank you for that honesty, because that was, I know now where I am. I know that I can trust you, that you're
Hmm.
going to tell me the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. Honesty is so key. And I found that the more I've lent into my discomfort of potential, let's say, hurting the other person, or conflict again, the deeper our connection has come, because it's building that strong, solid container. Because there's a trust level from both ends. Like, I know there's no mask on there. It's exactly who you are, and I know how to deal with that. But when there's a mask, then there's like stories go on, and that person then will create their own stories of like, oh, but do they actually mean that? Maybe they mean this and that, and then it goes into a rabbit hole.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so with I was trying to think where it went then. So there was safety with it, and actually from the safety you mentioned around like being honest, and also with I don't just saying something for the sake of saying it. So if she's saying she looks ugly, or she feels like she looks ugly, and you say, no, no, you're amazing, but you don't actually feel it, it's going to be key. But in my mind, I'm like, because my wife, again, just going back to like holding space, like, so holding space for them to express whatever they need to express. There's been times where I've just been holding that space, and my wife's like, are you going to say anything? I'm like, I was just holding space. I'm like, I'm open to give you something, but I was just waiting for you to ask for it. Like, I was waiting for that permission.
Mhm.
Because she wants it. I do feel like my wife, particularly, she wants to hear my opinion, and I think she wants it because I hold space so well. It's not like I'm jumping the gun, just going in there, and she knows what I say is I'm very honest with her because I don't avoid that conflict. So I can feel her craving my viewpoint because she feels safe in that the energy that I'm bringing. She feels safe within that. She really feels safe in my opinion, even when it's hard to hear.
Mhm.
All right, but I do just going into this because this is a topic I do sense to be true, but I also question it a little bit. Like, and this is around. So again, a belief system that I have, and this is one book that I read, by the Core by John Wayland. And like, so we have masculine and feminine within each of us. And that kind of varies depending on the individual person. A man might be very heavily masculine and a little feminine. And another man might be, quite balanced in that. And I've heard within these type of books, like The Way of Superior Man and By the Core, um, is that men grow through challenge, and well, the masculine grows through challenge, and the feminine grows through, I think it's like support or encouragement.
Mhm.
So, for example, if a man is going through I'm going to base it on the general population because the majority of men are more masculine and the majority of females are more feminine. Right. So if a man's going through through a particular scenario and he's in a group of men, he's going to grow best by being challenged in that to grow as masculine.
Mhm.
And then a feminine, if they're going through the same situation, it'd be better to grow hers through complementing. So if you want her to work out more, it's complimenting when she does work out. I love it when you get sweaty. I think you look so sexy when you're like that. Whereas a man, it's like, oh, I think you could maybe do this amount of reps now to get stronger. And I think now you need to step up even more. What do you think on that?
I I think I agree with it to that degree that yes, masculinity gets like being held accountable, being challenged, that competitiveness, that edge, um, is definitely something that moves us forward, you know. However, just like you just said, we have both inside of us,
Hmm.
all of us, right? So both can work. It comes back down to where we are at in the moment. If I am just all in my masculine
Hmm.
and not in my feminine, then that challenge can be counterproductive because I'm already like burned out,
Yeah.
right? So then this just pushes me more and more in this, and I'm actually not looking out for myself. I'm not allowing myself to get enough rest. I'm not allowing myself to actually sit back and reflect and integrate, the things that are happening. So there, the other side could actually be the more nourishing one, where it's like where even in the same situation, speaking more to my feminine could allow me to grow more because it comes from that space rather than from the burnout. Do I make sense
Yeah.
in this? So I find it dangerous to make it a clear, it needs to be this for men and this for women when we both have the polarity inside of us.
Yes.
So for me, it would be like, how can I be more sensitive? And women, yes, they are supposed to be more in their feminine. However, if you look around right now, um, especially with everything that's going on in the world, women are stepping up so big time in
Hmm.
so many ways and getting more and more into the power. And there's like all these movements, but there's very masculinity driven.
Yeah.
So they're not supporting each other in the feminine side often right now either. So it's like this push. And so I really feel that we're missing so often the balance right now.
Yeah.
Find this, and it's a fine line, but finding this kind of like a pendulum where it's like, all right, we just swing to the one side, all right, too much, go back, go back, go back, so that we can find this way of allowing ourselves to grow sustainably.
Hmm.
Because that's my other concern, and what I see too much right now still is there's these breakthroughs, there's these awarenesses, there's these steps, and then something happens, and it's literally like a rubber band, and it just snaps you back into where
Hmm.
everything started. You lost kind of the tension, you lost this kind of movement. So when we can work in a more sustainable way with more smaller steps and smaller, um like repetitive, which is not a big thing for the male, is like the more repetitive these kind of things are, the more we can move for them. I mean, the biggest growth often comes out of the boring places, not out of the exciting
Hmm.
one.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I hear with regards to the masculine and feminine is essentially we need to be adaptive and we need to understand ourselves at a much deeper level, and particularly men. I think there's a lot of men who are like tough, tough, tough. No, I'm pure man. There's no feminine, no softness or gentleness within there whatsoever. Whereas reality, there probably is. They're putting on a very hard, mask and shields up and and everything. So it's about understanding ourselves at a much deeper depth. That yes, we do have feminine within us, and we need to soften a little bit more. And our partner, if we're in a relationship, our partner or whoever we're talking with, we can communicate. Look, I'm I'm needing this right now. I don't need challenging. I don't need, let's say, fixing. If I'm like, and I agree completely with how you described it, because I know with myself there's times where like this is why I love men's groups, like because I go to men's group because really when I'm there I want to be challenged. I want to grow the masculine. I want to grow that energy, and then particularly probably, and I get support as well when I'm in the feminine. Uh, there are times where I show up in the feminine. It's not as much when I'm in men's groups, but really it can show up more in when in my relationship. And there's times where I am tired, I am drained, I am stressed, and I just need more nurturing. And for me to ask for that more nurturing um,
Right.
space.
Yes, and there's another element to this. So even in a men's group, I find the strength is in the vulnerability, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so in
yeah.
order for me to get challenged, I need to be vulnerable first to
Hmm.
actually truly express what is going on, which is more a feminine side. And here's
Hmm.
now the next contradiction in this. If I then get challenged and go, all right, you know, now thank you for letting me see you. Here's what I see. I want to, I want to challenge you to go deeper. I want to challenge you to dig deeper and do this. For me to receive that, I need to be in the feminine because receiving is feminine,
Okay,
giving is masculine.
okay.
So the masculine is the giver, the feminine is the receiver. So there's so many more elements to this
Yeah.
that they always play in, and this is why I'm so strong about this balance, because even within us, I cannot receive if I don't feel safe. So if my masculine doesn't give me safety within me, I will not receive.
Hmm. So someone would need to develop their masculine to be able to receive.
Yes,
Hmm.
that safety is needed to full, and I'm talking about nearly like unconditional, right?
Yeah.
So often, and you will see this a lot in women too, it's like the compliments. Oh, this is nothing. No, this old thing, whatever. It's not received because it's not allowed to go in. And then when you take this into a relationship, it's not just the energy, it's also that cultivating that safety. So if I give compliments or anything, but it doesn't land, then often it is because the partner doesn't feel safe.
Hmm.
Not safe in the relationship, not safe in within self, not safe in the world, whatever it might be. I mean, there's so many elements to this. So this is why it's so important to get a better understanding. And again, this comes down to communication, to
Yeah.
listening, nuances. The more we know our partner, the more we have kind of the dictionary for this individual person, the more we can lean into that, the more we can actually go into really creating that kind of space. And so this is what, again, that safety comes into. But back to what you said with the feminine and the masculine, I thought I need to be a man, meaning I
Yeah.
just need to be masculine.
Yeah.
Like that's how
Yeah.
I grew up. Be a man, you know? Don't cry. Man don't cry. Man don't feel pain. Like these were all words that I heard over and over and over again in different languages, in different environments, in different kind of scenarios. It was always the same kind of thing.
Hmm.
And so for me, the receiving part was very, very difficult.
Right. Okay.
I always brushed it away. So I needed
Hmm.
to develop because I didn't feel safe within whatever I cultivated because I was out of balance.
Yeah.
So getting more into a balanced thing, into being a balanced man, that receiving became very, very different.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I was the same. Like I really shut down when I would receive. And I even notice it now, like when I'm trying to receive something, if I don't feel when I'm like I don't feel the containers there or the safety isn't there, I just
Yeah.
shut down from receiving.
Yeah.
So because we're getting to the end of the episode today, so I want to um bring it to a close. on that. We've spoken about so much, and there's still so much I wanted to get into more. Maybe I can get you back on another episode. Um, so with regards to the masculine and feminine, do you have any ways that men can develop those within themselves so they have that safety, so they can have a healthy way to give and a healthy way to receive?
It's it's pretty much, I mean, a lot of this stuff for me was rewriting some old stories. You
Hmm.
know, it was you're not creative, you're not
Hmm.
artistry. Like there's so many things that I was apparently not. You're not musical, you can't sing, you can't play an instrument, you can't whatever. And so it started really simple with just enjoying, just allowing. Like I loved always playing, beating up on a drum.
Mm.
And so I got into this and I was like, wow, this is, it was rewriting a narrative. And then um breathing like really helped a lot, coming into the body and just really connecting with, even connecting with emotions, allowing to receive the emotions that come. So it's really the
Mm.
receiving thing. But there is so many different tools, there's so many little things. Um, just journaling can be an amazing creative outlet where all of a sudden things flow differently. And it's this feminine is being, masculine is doing. So at the end, if you find ways to be in the moment, um, go for a walk and just
Hmm.
stop and just look around and find a few things like sensory um,
Mm.
exercises. Like find a couple of things you can smell, a couple of things you can hear, a couple of things you can see. Just name them, just be there. These are things that get you connected more with that kind of feminine side of you
Hmm.
in a very simple way. It's not about this, you're gonna have to be soft or anything. No, you can actually be, like I said, stand in nature, strong, grounded, connected, and observe.
Hmm.
Be in that moment and find beauty, and that's a feminine trait, while still having the masculine side of it to create that safety for you.
Great. Yeah, I did that the other day. I was driving back from the construction site, and there's this bridge that I always pass over, and the view of the mountains is just it's spectacular. And I noticed I was driving back, and I was like, "Where am I?" I'm just thinking, thinking, thinking. And I was driving back. I was like, "No, do you know what? I'm going to stop at this bridge. I'm going to actually look at these mountains." And I did, and it was amazing, and I just felt so peaceful to
I
do
don't
that. I
even
was
think
so
I know
glad that
the
I gave
bridge
myself
you're
that.
talking about.
You know the bridge, probably.
I'm sure I stood on it. It's exactly that.
Yeah,
I can feel it.
yeah.
Yes.
I just felt, and I was so pleased with myself just to offer myself that space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just really happy. I just noticed, and again, I know this happens with a lot of men. I don't want to go too much into it, but I know we can be very much in the mind
Yeah.
and all the things that we need to do, and just really disconnects us from being in the body and feeling and have that felt experience of
Mhm.
wherever we are, with that presence, that full presence where we are. Right. So, last question before we finish up is the biggest question. What is it to be a man for you?
It's such a loaded question. We don't
Yeah.
have enough time for that. Um, I don't look, for me personally, it's being a father, it's being um a partner, it's being grounded, it's being strong, it's being soft, it's being all these kind of things. But if I would want to put it into a picture, um, how am I gonna explain it? Like here, I I work a lot with these kind of shapes. So the toroidal shape is basically like a constant loop. And for me, it's like a tornado. It's like this constant swirling. And for me, being a man is being right in the middle, standing your ground in like the eye of the
Mm,
storm, and being able to be calm, be present, because you will be able to see literally 360 around you, everything that's swirling, but you will be able to pick out these different elements that are there. And for me, a man is like this rock that stands in that eye of the storm and has this calm presence.
mhm,
You don't have to be a bully. You don't have to be like this, here I am, and I'm the protector. I'm this. You can be just as powerful with a calm, steady presence and just as, yeah, as strong, if not even stronger with that than when you are like yelling and shouting and raising the voice and imposing. I mean, I'm a big guy, so for me,
mhm,
this was actually something I did when I was younger. I would use my body, I would use my voice, I would use that to impose something, to impose like power, to impose whatever, until I realized that actually the opposite is way more powerful.
mhm,
So a man for me is somebody who can have that calm presence that is unshakable.
mhm.
That is um my wife's favorite word, unfuckwithable. Because be true to your word, be true to who you are. And yes, being a calm but a steady present. That's another thing. Being there, showing up, making a choice every day will fail. We're men. We fail.
Mhm,
It's, I don't know, it's part of our DNA, I'm sure. Human as well, but still, it's the standing up. A man stands up, stands his ground, honors his mistakes, and grows.
We have to fail. We have
Oh,
to
we
fail.
do.
To be at our edge, we have to fail.
Over and over again.
Yeah. I love that. Calm in the eye of the storm. I think it's I really align with that a lot. So thank you. It's good to hear your view on that. So how can men or women listen to this connect with you, work with you? How can they reach out?
Um, Easiest way, at Sacred Rebel on Instagram. Um, just reach out, connect with me, uh, or through my email, robin@robinseeger.com. Um, yeah, for me, this is my passion. I love empowering people, working with that, especially with relationships, because like you said before, and this is something that I truly believe in as well, not all relationships are meant to work.
Hmm.
However, we don't want to repeat the patterns and go, oh, great, I attracted the same kind of woman, the same kind of man. And usually we elevate. If we don't look at our patterns, if we don't look at our blind sides and at our shadows and that kind of work, we get to the next level until we get it. Like one of the biggest things I'm often being asked is like, what would you change in your life? And I'm like, literally like nothing. I wouldn't be here where I am today.
Hmm.
However, I would soften some of the blows because I could have learned my lessons way earlier, but I'm just stubborn. I'm like a mule, so
Yeah.
my
Uh,
lessons have to come with dynamite sometimes instead of just a little knock on the door going, learn the lesson yet? No, not yet. All right. and it elevates. And this is not different in relationships.
Mhm.
We attract, if we don't look into this kind of stuff, we're going to keep attracting the same kind of patterns, the same kind of partners. And it's time to break out of this. And
Yeah,
then we learn out of these paths, because we can learn out of every single relationship, even the worst one. There is things that we learn out of it that allow to grow and move forward.
absolutely. I will share all your contact details on the descriptions in the podcast as well, so people can reach out.
I appreciate it, but more than anything, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for having me, and truly for all the work that you do. Like, it's inspiring.
Mm. I'm just receiving that, trying to receive before I give a
Take a
thank
breath.
you.
Take a deep breath. It
Yeah.
is like that. It's, and again, coming back to that breath, like when you hear something like this, just that's
Mm.
actually letting it in. Take that
Yeah.
breath and then just go and let it sink. So
Yeah.
yes, well deserved.
Mm.
That
Yeah. No, I really appreciate that. And again, just thank you for coming on. It's always amazing to talk with you. And it's been a long time since we last spoke.
yeah,
So I'm really, really grateful for that now.
anytime.
Yeah. Right.
Anytime.
Thank you guys. And I'll see you next time. Keep working on it.